Good Friday afternoon to you at SteenSmokeHouse. Tomorrow we're going to be cooking beef fajitas on the pit barrel cooker. I haven't done that for a long time, and this will be the first time I've used a pit barrel cooker to cook flank steak or skirt steak or fajita meat. We're going to let it marinate overnight, and in a moment I'm going to show you how we do it. I want to give a special thanks to Roberto Duque for your help today, and I want to thank everybody, guys and girls I work with, for being so supportive and for having such a work environment. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, in a moment I'm going to mix this all together and show you how I do it. These are the ingredients to our marinade for our cook tomorrow. We're going to use about a cup of pineapple juice. We're going to use a couple tablespoons of just regular store-bought fajita seasoning. We're going to use a few ounces of beer. Any beer you like will do just fine. And then we're going to use about probably a quarter cup of lime juice and mix it all together. And I'll put it in a bowl and mix it all up and show you what it looks like. Then after that, it's going to sit overnight in a Ziploc bag. As I said before, Ziploc bags are real convenient. We're going to pour this all together, put the meat in, put the marinade on, kind of squish it up, get the air out, put it in the fridge, and we're done till tomorrow when it gets introduced to the pit barrel cooker. Pineapple juice is in. Fajita seasoning, I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon and a half. That's probably enough. In. Lime juice. The citrus in the lime, the citrus in the pineapple will soften up the tissues in the skirt steak, which is inherently kind of tough. A lot of people that cook fajitas will cut them very thin, which is what I'm going to do too, but while it's not a cheap cut of meat, it's also not a very tender cut of meat. So we're going to try to change that, and I think the pit barrel cooker is going to help us do that. And then we're going to put just a splash of beer in there. Lime, seasoning, pineapple, beer. That's it. We're going to whisk it up. And that's what it looks like. Anyway, I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag in a moment, and I'll show you what that looks like. And after that, we're going to close this video down till tomorrow. These are our 2 flank steaks, skirt steaks, fajita meat, whatever you want to call them. Inherently, this stuff's pretty tough. This is choice, as you'll see. I like to buy USDA Prime whenever I can. I didn't have time to do that, and a lot of folks don't have access to Prime. So we're going to do it a simple way, the way you can do it at home. And you can find USDA choice meat pretty much any grocery store. In a moment, I'm going to put it in the marinade, which we just made, and then go from there. Turns out the marinade we just made together is enough to put enough liquid in this 1-gallon Ziploc freezer bag so it'll adequately coat the meat and give it a place to rest overnight and become a little more tender tomorrow. I'm going to zip it up, get the air out of it as much as I can. That's it. We'll revisit this tomorrow. Y'all have a good evening. Talk to you soon. Our fajita meat has been marinating in the refrigerator overnight in the mixture we made up yesterday. The only seasoning I'm going to put on it prior to the cook is Pit Barrel Cooker Company Beef and Game Pit Rub. It's going to be a lot more tender than it was when we put it in. As you can see right now, the grain is very exposed. Once we get it out of the pit barrel, it's going to be easy to cut against the grain. I've got the pit barrel out there getting fired up. As soon as it comes to temp, we're going to hang our meat on there, and we're going to make beef fajitas on the pit barrel cooker. Hey folks, we're going to make our own Pico De Gallo. I've never done this before, so I'm going to kind of rough cut all of our ingredients and put them in the food processor over here. I've got tomatoes, I've got cilantro, I've got serrano peppers. I'm going to put those in there, and then we're going to let it spin around a little bit, and hopefully it'll come out right. I've got onion, We're going to just kind of quarter this up and put it in the food processor. I will have to state again, I've never made Pico De Gallo on my own, so this is a new thing for you and a new thing for me. It's very colorful, and all the little pieces seem to be fitting together well. Of course, using the PBC is really easy. I've already put the meat on hooks, hung it in the pit barrel cooker, and we're going to let it ride around in there. It doesn't take very long to do these. They're kind of a thin cut of meat, and they're covered in the convection cooking effect of the pit barrel cooker, but probably an hour at the most, they'll be done. Okay, folks, our pit barrel fajitas are done. I wrapped them up in foil for a little bit. I like to do that and let them rest when they get off the pit barrel cooker. This stuff is really tender. I hope I can pick it up so I can cut it for you. There's one thing about the pit barrel cooker that is so far for me in 2 years and probably 100 or more cooks, everything I do on the pit barrel comes out just the way I want it. We're going to cut this into thin slices. This is really, the aroma from this meat is pretty amazing. If you look at the smoke ring and the color of the meat itself, you can see probably what you wouldn't normally see when you cook a flank steak like this. It's amazing. I'm going to cut a little piece off the center here and see how tender it is. It pulls apart. It's almost, and see how tender it is. It pulls apart like a really, really nice brisket. It's going to be good in fajitas. When you go to your local fajita restaurant, I don't think you get fajitas like that. You don't get beef like that, and you sure don't get chicken like that. So anyway, I'm going to cut the rest of it up. I'm going to make it into fajitas, taco, the Pico De Gallo we made, some guacamole, sour cream, a little bit of cheese, and this project will be done. Our fajitas are going to be tortillas, sour cream, guacamole, and the Pico De Gallo we made. I'm calling it Pico De Gallo. It came out green. I kind of want it to be more red and white like a typical Pico De Gallo is, but it's delicious nonetheless. It's got a little more spice in it than I intended. Serrano peppers kind of added a kick that I didn't anticipate, but in spite of the way it looks, it's delicious. I'm going to go ahead and fold these up and do a taste test, add the meat to them, and I'll be right back. I made several of these. I put 4 on our serving platter so you could see them. I'm going to give you an eyeful of them. They're delicious. They smell delicious. They look pretty good. Again, the Pico De Gallo was meant to be like red and white and like it normally is. This happens to be really tasty, and I love cilantro. It's not overpowering in this recipe, but it's just enough, and it tastes delicious. In a moment, you can watch me taste it. Here we are at the end of another video. This is actually video 16. This is our pit barrel beef fajitas. I really encourage you, if you're on the fence about getting a pit barrel, you should do it. If you like to cook at all, that's a very easy way for you to learn how to cook and kind of the nuances of temperature and heat and smoke and things like that. And those folks at Pit Barrel make it really easy to get great results every time. I'm going to go ahead and try one of these and see what they taste like. They smell amazing. They look pretty good too, even though my Pico De Gallo didn't come out in the color I wanted it to, but I'm going to taste one anyway. Really perfect. It's not chewy at all. Usually, I say usually, almost every time I get fajitas at a restaurant out, the beef is tough, the chicken is dry, unappealing. I would rather do it myself and do it right. Everything you cook in the pit barrel, everything I've cooked in the pit barrel, and I've probably done 150 or more cooks in the pit barrel in the last 2 years. 2 years over now. They're over 2 years. It's come out perfect, beyond my expectations. This is no exception. If you're on the fence about getting a pit barrel, do it. I promise you, you won't regret it. They make it real easy to get started on it. They give you all the stuff you need. They give you the hooks, the rebar, the barrel. It's a porcelain coated barrel. It's not just some barrel you found in a junkyard somewhere. Everything you need except for matches, charcoal, meat. Give it a try. And again, if you buy one through SteenSmokeHouse, on my YouTube channel, when you click show more, when you drop down like that, I will give you, at my expense, I will give you a pit barrel chimney starter that's the exact correct size to pour on top of your coals inside the pit barrel and begin your cook. So I appreciate you watching. SteenSmokeHouse, signing off.